One night, a 12-year-old boy witnessed a confrontation that would enact a series of events that would forever change his life and his perception of what was real. Joey Diaz is a successful comedian, podcaster, and actor, born in Havana, Cuba on February 19, 1963. The comedian and his mother relocated to North Bergen, New Jersey at a young age. In Union City, New Jersey, Joey's mother ran a bar as well as a successful numbers game operation. There has been mention by the comedian of other not-so-legal business endeavors run by his mother through the bar she owned. There is often a symbiotic relationship between successful, less than legal businesses and certain key local police officers. Pacts are made and payments are dispersed either weekly or monthly to these officers in return for protection and intel. Joey's mother was no different and understood you have to pay to play. However, this night was different, and the butterfly effect from this auspicious night would be nothing less than shocking. As Joey entered his mother's bar, he witnessed a man he had never seen before, yelling and threatening his mother. The tough, warrior-spirited Cuban mother just smiled, though Joey could tell she was highly irritated and doing her best to keep her cool. The strange man turned out to be an undercover cop, also of Cuban descent. On this particular evening, he was attempting to extort his own cash payment from her, promising her harsh repercussions if she did not decide to get with his program when he returned. After the man stormed out of his mother's establishment, Joey would overhear murmurs of concern by his mother's employees and associates. A few nights later, Joey had awoken from his sleep and called out to his mother. When he received no response, he got up to look for her. He discovered her purse and belongings on the kitchen counter, but no mom. He was startled until he figured out she must be across the street. Joey's mother was close friends with a Puerto Rican woman by who all accounts was as straight-laced as you can get. She did not smoke, drink, nor even cuss. She also practiced Santeria, a Yoruba spiritual system mixed and hidden in the saints of Catholicism, also referred to as La Regla de Ocha or Lukumi. It is often mistaken for voodoo. Though there are many similarities, there are also vast differences. There are numerous demigods, or orishas as they are called, in Lukumi. Once a month, Joey's mother's friend would pass a spirit or get mounted. Getting mounted is described as a particular spirit or deity possessing an individual for a time. The individual acts as a vessel for the spirit energy to come through and interact with those in attendance. As Joey was crossing the street to find his mom, he could hear the entrancing drum rhythms getting louder as he approached. When he entered the neighbor's home, he witnessed the usually meek friend of his mother drinking copious amounts of 151 alcohol, smoking a cigar, and spraying clouds of rum mist from her mouth. Loud, powerful, and boisterous, the Orisha had much to say. Shortly after he had arrived, he witnessed the entranced, spirit-mounted neighbor walk over to his mom and question if she had someone who was bothering her. His mother responded with yes. The possessed woman proceeded to grab a white plate and a candle. In one hand, she turned the plate upside down and held the candle underneath it, singeing and burning the white plate. She then tossed the candle, which seemed to explode in a ball of flame. She gazed at Joey's mother and slowly turned the plate over, In much the same way that a tortilla or bread will form a burn pattern that can be called an image, so too did the plate. "Is this the man who is bothering you?" the spirit questioned. To Joey's shock and horror, a burnt image of the man he had just seen in his mother's bar a few days prior was revealed. Upon his mother's confirmation, the mounted woman violently broke the plate and shouted in Spanish, "In 7 days, guiso," slang for cooked. About a week later, the actor recalled getting out of school. As he was going to get his bike to leave for his mother's bar, he passed a group of school staff who appeared on edge. He heard the words bullets and shooting, but he disregarded it and continued on his way. Upon arriving at his mother's establishment, there was an air of celebration. He remarked that it seemed like all the Cubans from his neighborhood were at his mother's pub. He questioned his mother as to what was going on. It was then that he would learn just how accurate the Orisha's words were. The power-hungry, renegade undercover cop had been gunned down. Evidently, he and his partner attempted to shake down a local taxi service that was a reputed front for narcotics transportation through the neighborhood. The owners of Rapido Taxi were not having it. The undercover Cuban cop's partner actually survived the shower of bullets. According to the surviving officer's testimony, he had described that after an altercation, the two officers seemed to be trapped in their vehicle. The doors would not open as if they were locked in. The vehicle was in an alleyway behind the taxi stand. In front of and to one side of the vehicle was the brick walls of the neighboring buildings. And on the driver's side, multiple angry gunmen. Years later, Joey Diaz found himself living in Boulder, Colorado. After dealing with a drug problem and multiple arrests, he wanted a new start. He ended up applying at a Honda car dealership. Whilst applying, he was conversing with the employees and made it known he was of Cuban descent. As it turns out, the hiring manager was also of Cuban descent. He asked the future comedian where in New Jersey he was from. Union City, he answered. It was then that the hiring manager stated, "I was from Union City as well, but we had to move after my father, who was an undercover police officer, was shot and killed." On September 11th, 2022, multi-platinum rapper Nicki Minaj claimed on her Queen radio podcast that a certain rapper has had voodoo put on her multiple times in an attempt to get rid of her. She stated, "And they were so stupid to talk about it. Not only were they texting about it, but they were also talking to other people about it. They didn't know someone who knows them well was nearby." Them being Nicki Minaj. She continued to say, "Imagine having so little self-worth that you turn to voodoo and witchcraft as if you don't have to pay it back." All allegations seem to implicate fellow New York rapper Cardi B as the perpetrator. The beef between the two successful female MCs erupted in 2018 when Cardi B accused Nicki Minaj of criticizing her parenting skills. The boiling feud exploded on September 17th, 2018, in an alleged altercation at the Harper's Bazaar Icons Party during New York Fashion Week. After Nicki's claim on her podcast, it was widely speculated that Cardi B had her Dominican grandmother put the juju on Nicki Minaj. Cardi B has publicly denied any dealings with the darker arts and claims Jesus is her power. The source of Nicki's intel was none other than retired Harlem, New York rapper Azealia Banks. Banks is no stranger to controversy and has also admitted she is a witch. Shortly after the September 11th Queen Radio episode, Azealia Banks tweeted she lied to Nicki about Cardi B's abuelita doing brujeria on her. She continued in a voice-over to say, "The easiest form of witchcraft is to tell someone that it's being done on them." She states, "Someone with a weak mind, they get paranoid. They start turning on themselves, and that is exactly what's happening." After the now infamous tweet, most media outlets have brushed their hands of Nicki Minaj's allegations. However, the question remains, if someone can say they lied about something they said, is it also possible that they could lie about lying? There lies a gross misunderstanding by those outside of the occult on how real magic actually works. Most people think magic works in the same exaggerated way they have seen on TV or in the movies, but that actually couldn't be farther from the truth. There is an old saying that true black magic will kill you with a coincidence, meaning the spell or ritual will often manifest or materialize in a way that looks natural, coincidental, or quote-unquote accidental. Black magic curses also don't usually just affect the intended target. Oftentimes, spouses, children, and family fall victims as well. In addition to unforeseen accidents, life circumstances, financial and legal problems can arise. Real black magic is known to manifest in a plethora of overwhelming ways to attack the target and break their mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual health. Let's take a look back, and you can drop a comment below on your opinion if you think Nicki Minaj got that curse work put on her or nah. Nicki Minaj has been noticeably absent from the music scene since her last studio album, which was titled Queen and released in August of 2018. Coincidentally, a song on the album titled Ganja Burns contains a bar from Minaj in which she raps, "They done went to witch doctors to bury the Barbie. But I double back, killed bitches, bury the body." She continues to rap, "I done fasted and prayed, had to cleanse my body. Abstaining from sex, had to zen my body." Nicki's fourth album failed to crack the US Billboard Top 200 on the week of its release. Nicki has repeatedly claimed she has been blackballed by radio and the industry as well. Even popular morning show The Breakfast Club's DJ Envy admits to omitting Nicki Minaj from his rotation. Over the past 4 years, she has found herself embroiled in several public disputes, one of which being Miley Cyrus. On October 21st, 2019, Nicki married Kenneth Petty, a convicted sex offender who was also charged with first-degree murder. Amidst catching heat for some controversial comments made by the rapper, the couple also faced further legal drama when Petty moved in with Minaj in her California home in 2020 because he violated his New York State probation and failed to register as a sex offender. But all that pales in comparison to what was to transpire. On February 12th, 2021, Nicki Minaj's father, Robert Mirage, was struck by a car in a hit-and-run accident in Mineola, New York, by a Nassau County businessman named Charles Polovic. Polovic didn't call 911 and tried to hide his vehicle under a tarp. Robert Mirage would succumb to his injuries the next day on February 13th, 2021, while hospitalized. In August of 2022, Polovic was sentenced to only 1 year in jail for the hit-and-run crime. Amidst the trials and tribulations Nicki Minaj has endured during the last 4 years, recently there appears to be a break in the clouds. On August 12th, 2022, the rapper released Super Freaky Girl, which debuted at #1 on the US Hot 100. The single also broke the Spotify record for the biggest debut for a solo female rap song. Time will tell if we see an actual studio album from Nicki, as well as what will happen with Cardi B's career. The worst curses one can endure are always self-inflicted by the beliefs, attitudes, and choices one makes. Always remember, when the darker forces of the occult side are entailed, expect the unexpected from behind the veil.